Hello, Nick. Hello. You guys, this is Nick Connor. I will let him introduce himself, but we recently have spoken on the phone, and it's been a pleasure just getting to know you these past few days. So if you would, Nick, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, and it's a blessing to get to know you too, Tiffany. We had a wonderful time with Thelma Nelms on the phone. I was raised a Lutheran pastor's son. I was born while he was in seminary in St. Louis and lived in parsonages all over Oklahoma. Kind of a middle class life. I had everything I wanted. Had the little
Mm.
Stingray bicycle when I was a kid and nice clothes. But my mother was mentally ill and she insisted on a divorce, which she granted her when I was 12. I stayed
Mm.
with her because of her illness, and we lived in hotels, we lived in the projects, we lived in cars. So it went from this middle class life to constant turmoil and insanity, and
Wow.
her being in and out of hospitals and addictions and all of that. So I got a baptism and fire in an entirely different culture than I was used to.
Wow.
The last grade I finished was sixth grade.
Mm.
And I joined the Army at 17, and I met the Lord at 18 in Germany in 1973.
Wow.
And my first sergeant made me do a high school program in the Army, which I'm glad he did. And when I got out, I used my GI. So today I have a bachelor's degree, two master's degrees, and a PhD. Not too bad for somebody who
Oh
only
my
finished the sixth grade.
gosh.
That's what the Lord will do for us when He
Mm.
saves us. He completely redeems and changes things.
Woo.
So so that's and so that's how I ended. I think you're coming into this question about how I got involved with.
Yes.
I'll let you ask the question, then I'll.
Well, my goodness, just your story is amazing. It's truly a testament to the Lord and what He will do for His people. How He is a redeemer, and how He just literally comes in and saves us in every way, not just our souls, but He
That's
literally
right.
rescues our life from the pit. So, wow, that's amazing. I can't wait to hear more about your story. I did want to ask you, right, about how you got involved with Mission Possible.
Okay, this is interesting. Thelma Nelms and I first met. I didn't know she had Mission Possible, but we met in Washington, D.C. Professionally. There were 85 of us in the Postal Service, basically pretty much one per state, but there might be a couple in each state. And our position professionally, well, at that time was called Employee Assistance Program Coordinator. So we oversaw the counseling for postal employees and their family members, whether it's alcoholism or substance abuse or marital problem,
Mhm.
depression, whatever. And then that transitioned into, they changed our position and we became employee workplace intervention analysts.
Wow.
And our primary function was threat assessments, critical incidents, conflict mediation, work climate assessments, team building, that sort of thing, working with both labor and management. So that's how Thelma Nelms and I met in Washington, D.C. And I just noticed, I mean, I'm 6'4", so she's little to me, but I just
Yes.
noticed this little but elegant lady.
Yes.
And we were just immediately drawn to each other. I
Mm.
think we saw the Lord in each other,
Yeah.
and I just felt very affirmed by her at that point. Anyway, she invited me a few years later to come to Mission Possible at one of the anniversaries during the banquet, and I stayed there in the big home, and we ministered at the banquet and just interacted
Yeah.
with several people there, and that's how we met, and that was originally. So we've known each other almost 30 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. That's amazing. Oh, please forgive me. I
Yeah.
probably should have introduced myself to everyone that will be watching. So, my name is Tiffany McKinney, just here with the amazing Nick Connor, just to get his amazing insight about his journey with Mission Possible. And I just work with the organization and love Miss Niams and love Mission Possible and everything that they're doing. So, enough about me.
Yeah.
So because you have such a rich history with Mission Possible, I'm sure you have um, so many stories, just how you know Miss Nims and how long you've known her. Maybe do you have any fond memories that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah. And they're more personal because I'm really relational. I'm more
Mhm.
impressed with people and their personality and the
Yeah.
dynamics of our relationship. What she's done, that ministry, it has such integrity and quality. That was my first impression when I came to the
Mhm.
house. Was I had no idea her standards of excellence,
Yes.
and I mean it's a very high standard
Yes, it
that
is.
she set, and the level of integrity, how she stewards things. But what this is a story that impresses me. There was a house full, and the lady stayed upstairs, and I stayed down in the basement. There's a little bedroom down in the basement
Yes. Uh-huh.
with a little metal bed. I don't know if it's
Oh.
still there. So I slept on that bed, and Thelma told me she was born on that bed
Mm.
on Beale Street. So
Wow.
yeah, so that was my first. I didn't know she had been born on Beale Street,
Goodness.
and then of course there's the picture of her with Barbara Bush there in the at the White House, and I'm
Goodness.
like, here's somebody who was born on Beale Street,
Huh.
and the Lord raised her up and took her all the way to the White
All the
House.
way.
Yeah,
Wow.
so
That's
those
amazing.
are some of my initial impressions. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. Wow, wow, wow. That's like, I love the way that you put that. Born on Beale Street, but what'd you
yeah.
say? But you made it to the White House?
The yes, I mean her story is like Joseph, who was in the prison house, and the Lord, he went from the pit to the prison house to the Lord raised him up to
Yes.
all of Egypt, and just that's the testimony of the favor of the Lord. But the
Mm,
very fact that the president's wife, Barbara Bush, recognized Thelma Nelms for her leadership as one of
yes.
the points of light in this nation, and I think that we are already in hard times now, and they're going to
Mm,
get worse, and that
wow.
this ministry, Mission Possible, is very it's going to be vitally needed as we move forward and people's needs increase there in the Memphis area and surrounding area.
I agree. I agree. What a light. I believe the Bible
Mhm.
talks about how that light shines brightest in darkness. And
Yes,
so I think it's a
yes,
very vital point that you made, that times are uncertain right now and times are dark right now.
yeah,
And so to have
yeah,
such a beacon of hope for people right now is
yes.
really essential. I did want to ask you one last
Okay,
question. Thank you so much for your time. I know this is a sort
okay,
of a quick interview, but
yeah, yeah.
did want to ask you, for you, what is the importance of kindness as far as human interaction? How is that important to you?
Yeah, well, it's vital. I was thinking of a couple of verses that, and because of some of my history, because of the violence there and the anger that was there was problems with me from time to time with rage and anger.
Hmm.
And the Lord, the Lord is meek and lowly, and as He begins to sanctify us, we take on His personality when
Mm.
it comes to responding to aggression. And I was thinking of, I wanted to read the verse in Proverbs 5, and most people know it. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. And so sometimes when people come at you, your first response, you fight or flight kicks in, and you
Yeah.
want to come back at them. But the Lord says, if you'll respond softly, you can cause the temperature to come down pretty quickly, just how
Mm.
you respond. And the other is in 2 Timothy 2, where Paul told Timothy, he said, the Lord's bondservant must not be quarrelsome, but
Hmm.
kind to all, able to teach, gently instructing those who oppose the truth, if perhaps
Wow.
God would grant them repentance leading to a knowledge of the truth.
Mm.
So, yeah, so but one last thing, you and I were talking with Thelma Nelms, and she shared some stories, and this is why she is so qualified and has the authority to do what she does, coming from Beale Street, being in high level leadership in the postal service,
Yes.
and then her ministry, knowing the president, and that sort of thing. But she shared with us because I asked her, I said, were you there when Dr. King was assassinated? And she said, in fact, I heard the shot. She was working across the street and actually heard the shot that
Yes.
killed Dr. King.
Mm,
Then she told us, if I remember correctly, she said that her and her brother went to the marches and she witnessed her brother being
yes.
beaten and arrested.
My God.
And she shared with us being one of the first Black students at Memphis State
Yes.
University in the late 60s. That was at
Hmm.
the peak of racial tensions and
Right.
civil rights
Yeah.
after Dr. King had been assassinated, um, and how they even were biased against her as far as just giving her a fair grade in the school. So she's
Mm.
endured and transcended all that to be, and there's no bitterness in her, there's no offense in her. She models kindness and how
Wow.
we overcome evil with good.
So
And
good.
and that's why she can kind of be on the spearhead of Mission Possible, helping people in these times of violence.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Just even hearing you, I was on the conversation on the call as well, but just
yeah,
to hear you repeat those things,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
just to hear you say them again, that she's gone through all this opposition and she has been right there on the forefront of major, major situations that would cause a lot of people to fall out of grace
yes,
or
yes,
not be loving. But she has such a warm, loving, kind
yes,
heart. On the
yes,
conversation, I remember
yes.
telling her that she's such a lady,
She is a lady is
such
the
a
right
lady.
word. And when it comes to forgiving, the more we've been offended and hurt, the greater the offense and the injustice, the greater opportunity we have to walk in authority if we will walk in grace and forgiveness
Mm,
toward that offense that may have been completely uncalled for and unjust. So for some people, if you look at those injustices that have occurred to you as an opportunity to grow in grace and authority,
wow.
and you see that with Thelma, that she's modeled that in walking it out. Yeah,
Absolutely. I love how you said that the more you've been hurt, it gives you the opportunity to increase in your authority. And a lot of times, people, we've heard it many times, um, people, withhold forgiveness because we feel like, well, you don't know what they've done to me. You
that's
don't know what
right.
I've been through.
That's
And
right.
the truth is that you get an opportunity to set yourself free. You get an
Yes, that's good.
opportunity to grow in your own authority and to speak life and actually change the world around you with the authority that you're granted. So I think that is huge, huge what
Yes,
you just said.
yes, yeah,
I need to write that down, and I'm going to
yeah.
write that down. That's so good. Um, so I know I just kind of called you because I wanted to
Okay.
grab you, but was there anything else you wanted to leave with us this afternoon?
Other than this, that I would strongly encourage people to support Mission Possible. It's
Yes.
a trustworthy ministry with
Hmm.
integrity. We are on the 40th anniversary. That's the number of completion and graduation. At the end of 40
Wow.
days of fasting, the Lord entered into his ministry. At the end of
Mm.
40 years in the wilderness, Moses could bring the Hebrews out of Egypt. And at the end of 40 years, they could cross and possess the promised land. 40 is the number of completion and testing and perfection so that we are mature
Wow.
enough to steward and walk out the purpose and the call that the Lord spoke all those years ago. And
Wow.
and this ministry is going to be a light as things get darker and darker. And I would
Yes.
encourage people to get behind this ministry and give whatever you can um, to back this ministry so it can be a light in darkness at this time. Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. Well, guys, you see why I called Nick Connor, right? You see why I had to interview him today. I mean, power packed of just wisdom and knowledge. I really appreciate you, Mr. Connor, for your time this afternoon. Thank you so much. Well, guys, signing off. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye.